Hello. In this video we're going to go over preparing and e-filing prior year returns. In the OLT Pro software there are two different methods to preparing and e-filing a prior year tax return. One of these methods is geared more towards users of the OLT Pro software that used our program in 2018 or 17 or 16. Those of you who have been around for a little while. Another method is for users who are just starting off with this current year. Let's start by looking at the preferred method for those of you users who have been with us for a couple of years now. So, if we're here on our dashboard, we're going to look towards the top. There's going to be a link here. It says Login Prior Year. And let's click on that link, and you're going to have a new window open where you can select a previous year. Now, for my example, I've indicated that I've been using this software since 16. Thus, I have access to 16, 17, or 18. Some of you may be a little bit shorter on this list. Some of you may be longer, just depending on the time that's been spent with us. So for this example, I'm going to select 2018 and click on Login to Prior Year Site. Now, by clicking on Login to Prior Year Site, it opens a new tab in my browser. And you can see at the top now, I have the tax year 2018 indicated up here. And if I want to go back to 2019, I just select the other tab, and I can see that tax year is 2019. You can just jump back and forth. So when you go back to your prior year that you prefer, you can prepare a tax return just like you normally would. You would go to New Return. You would enter their social, save and continue, prepare an e-file just like you always have. And then once that's completed, you can import it into the current year, where then you can work on it and prepare an e-file from there. It's very straightforward and simple. Now, for those of you users who are a bit newer to the software, you may not be able to see this login prior year link in your program. That's all right. You're still able to prepare a prior year return. Now, to do so, we're going to start by clicking on the client's icon over here on the left. And then we're going to look at this row of icons across the top, and we're going to go to prior year return. Now, once we select that, you will see the option to select the year, and when you click on the drop down, you can see you can go all the way back to 2011. So what we're going to do is we're going to select one of the more current years so we can go through the e-file process. We'll just select 2018 on this one, and then I am going to select down here out of our list of buttons. I'm going to click on Create New Return. And so let's go through this return here, and we will plug in a little bit of information. So bear with me for just a moment. And you want to make sure you have selected 1040, and you do have the option for the X, the NR, the SS if those are applicable. So let's scroll down, and we will provide a bit of address information, so just a moment. All right. And then down here, if any of these apply, you'll want to check those boxes. And then we'll press Save and Continue. Now, depending on your input method, what you have defaulted, you might be taking into the direct input or the interview. Now, for this example, we're using the direct. This should be familiar to you. You're going to complete the return just like you normally would. So I do need to answer the healthcare question here. On the personal information. So let's fill this out real quick. And I'll scroll to the bottom and hit save. We'll add a little bit of income information here in just a moment. And because I do have a state return, it's going to have me verify my county. Now, depending on your state, you may be presented with a little bit different information, but you just want to verify your entries and hit save. And let's go put in a little bit of income, and then let's go through getting this return filed. So I'm going to add a W-2. All right. All right. So now I have my W-2 entered. I am ready to file. So I am going to add my 8879. And I'm going to fill out this screen like I normally would. Press save. And now that I have my 8879 in place, I'm going to verify and complete, just like we normally would. No errors found in the federal and none in my state. Excellent. So I'll close out of the screen. I'm going to click on complete. It's just like before, I want to mark the return as completed. Mark the return as reviewed, and indicate we're going to file electronically. Now that I'm finished, I'm going to click on Save and Redirect. Now, because you are using a slightly different method, you will be taken back to this screen. So what we're going to do next, because we have completed our tax return, it's time to enter the client payment. So now I'm going to go to Client Payment. Now, please note, if you are doing a 2017 or 16 or prior return, you need to make the selection here first. But because I was doing 18, I didn't need to change it. But if I was working on 17 or 16, you want to make this indication first. All right, so now that I've selected 18, I'm going to click on Client Payment. And I'm going to get my example here. I'm going to click on Payment. You can invoice if you wish. But let's do a payment. I'm going to put in some dollar figures and press continue. And I'm going to verify that all my information is okay, and they're going to pay me now by cash. I'll press save and continue. All right, so now I'm back here on this screen and I can see the status is paid. So because it has been paid, I can proceed with e-filing this return. So what I'll do next is I'm going to click on this little back-facing arrow here. It'll return us to the previous screen. And what I will look for next is Q for transmit. So once I click on Q for transmit, I will see my return here. Our example, it is ready to go. And so all I have to do now is click on transmit. And it'll take us to a screen that we're all familiar with. So we're just going to indicate that I'm going to e-file the federal 1040 and our state return for piggyback. Now remember, you may have states listed over here if they're direct file or if you're doing multiple. Now, once they are ready to go, you have major indications. You're going to select on Save and Continue. And you will see now that there are no clients to list for transmission. So what I can do again now is click on this backward facing arrow, be taken back to this page, and I can click on Get eFile Status, where I can then search using these options up here at the top, or I can click on All Queued. And as you can see, here is our return, where it gives us an option to click on Get Status to see the current status, or to remove this return from queue if necessary. And if you want to come back to view and print any information or edit or change anything with this return, we can come back to this page here, click on Edit/View Return. We see our taxpayer is listed here, where we can edit, file amend, edit the state return, file a state amended return, or view the forms or delete. And that is how you prepare and e-file a prior year tax return.